Rachel Maddow, host of our new 9 p.m. Eastern Hour on MSNBC, joins us now. And a grateful nation says howdy.
I'm actually related to all of these people.
Yeah,
so,
very good.
Yeah.
All right. Apparently they want to hear what you have to say about this, so tell me what you have to say about President Clinton's speech and its relative effectiveness.
Well, we knew that Bill Clinton would offer a full-throated endorsement of Barack Obama, and he did. I mean, when he said, "Everything I learned in my 8 years as president and in the work I've done since in America and across the globe has convinced me that Barack Obama is the man for this job," you kind of can't get any more full-throated than that. But what he did tonight, beyond that, is that he reminded every Democrat in the country that Bill Clinton knows how to beat Republicans in elections. And if you were looking for red meat, it does not get more rare than this. Finally, somebody stood up there at that podium and said, torture,
Yep.
Katrina, cronyism, the most unequal America we have had since the 1920s, to finally nail the Bush legacy of the past 8 years. And sure, he has the right to compare it to the 8 years that preceded it, but to go there over and over and over again, to make the red meat that red here, shows, I think, he's trying to lead by example here, trying to say this is how you'll beat these guys.
What about the war on unions and the unlimited favors for the well-connected, which got a rousing response from that crowd there and the one here? And the point being of all this, I suppose, that there seems to be something of a thematic thread going through the entire convention, starting with Teddy Kennedy on Monday night and passing all the way through Hillary Clinton last night, Senator Clinton tonight, and Joe Biden coming up after the top of the hour, where we're expecting some serious body work with the punching against John McCain. They seem to be building towards a big, giant nose thumbing, to be polite about it, towards the Republicans. Is it satisfactory? Is it enough to galvanize the anger in the country towards the Bush administration and focus it against the McCain candidacy?
Well, I think it's an attempt to connect with the country that already feels that way. I mean, 80% of the country thinks we're on the wrong track. George Bush's approval ratings are so low they're approaching Cheney's, and that's bad. If the Democrats can identify themselves as the people who get what Americans are so mad about, the party that understands that what has been going on is wrong, is not the future of America, it is a past that we're going to need to repair and move on from, then Barack Obama as the standard bearer is important and is nice, but the Democratic Party also brands itself as the party of a very dissatisfied country. So that's why you can be negative. When the country feels this negative, it's not discordant for a party convention to have a lot of negative words coming from the podium. It actually ought to resonate with the American public if you believe the polls about what the American people say.
Rachel, let's talk about the campaign from now on involving former President Clinton. It seems to me, and I know I'm not in this business, but if I were to choreograph it now, I'd put those two men on the road together, Barack and the former president. I'd get them out there almost like a buddy film. I get them going around even kidding with each other, showing their comfort with each other, the white guy and the black guy, if you will, the Hillary guy and the Barack guy, and show them out there comfortably, because I think it's so important for Barack to reach people he can't reach, which are the people in the rural areas, the white people, the people who are culturally more conservative.
I think that's a strategy that they're going to be trying to pursue. We don't know, in terms of the characters and the personalities involved here, how much they're going to want to be out there. We don't know if there's going to be resentment about spotlight stealing among these huge characters. There aren't shared huge characters like that on the Republican side that they have to fight about. Nobody's going to expect George Bush to be out there campaigning for them. I mean, I could imagine Senator Clinton and Joe Biden doing a huge event in Scranton. You know, I can imagine President Clinton and Barack Obama going anywhere in the world together and it being almost overwhelming in terms of its political impact. We don't know. We're so fascinated with the interpersonal drama here. We don't really know what limits they might have set interpersonally. But I think in terms of political effectiveness, the unity question is settled. It's just strategy now.
I have a question that pertains more to the man who's speaking right now, John Kerry, than it does to Bill Clinton. John Kerry just got off the best line, maybe one of the best lines of the convention here, about talking about being for it before you were against it, turning that phrase from 2004 back on the Republicans. We saw Al Gore in the years after his campaign succeed by being absolute and fervent and himself. Kerry seems to have been entirely a different person than he was in 2004. Is there instruction between those two men and what we just heard Bill Clinton say, is there instruction for how and how far Barack Obama should go about his campaign?
I think there is specific instruction about how to talk about John McCain in a way that the country will not rebel against because of what John McCain's POW service means to sort of his political definition. You can acknowledge his service. You cannot talk about his personal life in a way that is slimy or that's going to turn people off from you. But you can also talk about, I mean, as Joe Biden or John Kerry can do, having spent decades in the Senate with this man and having seen the guy who they thought was an honorable politician, an honorable American leader, turn into an almost unrecognizable John McCain in the candidate that he is today. The way that John McCain is running his campaign, who he's got surrounding him, the flip-flop on all the major positions, on so many of the major positions that defined him as a popular Republican in the country at large, those are gone. And that's the way to go after McCain. And actually, that's one of the great reasons that Biden is a good pick. Sure, Biden takes away the ability of the Obama campaign to say, oh, John McCain, he's been in Washington for 26 years. Can't really say that when Biden's been there longer, but Biden can say, I used to know John McCain. I don't know him anymore. I don't recognize candidate McCain in the guy who's been my friend for decades. You heard John Kerry say some of that tonight, and I don't think that can be taken on as the low road.
Right. I know John McCain, and you, sir, are not John McCain anymore.
That would work.
Rachel Maddow at T-minus 12 days. Thank you, Rachel.
Seen anybody go after McCain. I expect that the Democratic convention tomorrow will be all about John McCain, frankly, leading up to Joe Biden. But Biden brings two other things. Number one, I think Americans by and large believe that he'd make a fine president. Number two, I think, and he could credibly be president. Number two, he is the guy who says, you know what, Barack Obama's got ideas about how to change the country. Right. I'm the guy who knows how to implement them in Washington because I've been here since they set the cornerstone of the Capitol.
Right. And tomorrow night's not going to be about Joe Biden. It's going to be about Bubba. Tomorrow night is going to be about Bubba. And that's going to be the thing everybody's watching, and we will.
It's not.
We'll cover every minute of it. Even if it's not in prime time, we cover it live.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be...
No, we're going to cover it live, and you know he's going to talk about whatever he wants to talk about.
He will wander off.
He's going to talk about whatever he wants to talk about. Probably be a good speech.
Yeah. And as mentioned by Tom Brokaw, Bill Clinton is a competitive man, and he is going to probably try and top his own wife in tomorrow's speech by delivering something that will really get the crowd going inside the convention center. And Chris and Keith, back to you guys.
Okay.